Hi guys, and welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because we're going to be putting together my spring TBR. The weather in Germany has been so nice lately. The sun is out and it's not dark and gloomy anymore, so spring is here. I really want to get into some spring/summer reads, and instead of just showing you the books, I thought let's make this a bit more playful. So I've prepared 10 prompts that will help me choose the books. These are all the prompts that I prepared. A book published in spring, a book with flowers on the cover, a book set in a place you'd love to visit, a book with a pastel colored cover, a book with a romantic or whimsical vibe, a book that reminds you of a childhood spring memory, a book you'd bring on a picnic, a book that feels like sunshine, and a book under 300 pages. The first prompt was a book that was published in spring. I feel like Emily Henry always publishes her books during the spring season, so I feel like Beach Read, which is on my TBR, was probably published during the springtime. So let me check because I am dying to read that book. This is her. She is so pretty, and it was actually published in May, which means it was published in spring. So this is the first book that goes on my TBR. The next prompt is to find a book cover that has flowers on it, and I feel like this is gonna be a tough one because I don't feel like I own any books that actually match this prompt, so I need some time to look through my books. This was actually very easy because I found this book, which is this Ruin Kingdom by Tara Mafi. She also wrote Shatter Me, and do you see these little roses? I think also, on the spine and on the back of the cover. I honestly don't know what this is about, but I know that a lot of people also love this book and this series so much because I feel like Tara Mafi is mostly known for Shatter Me, but I've seen this book and the series get, also a lot of hype. I unfortunately don't know what this is about, but I'm very excited to read this nonetheless. The next prompt is to find a book that is set in a place that I would love to visit in spring. Yeah, that's gonna be tough too, because I usually don't know where a book is set in. The book I've chosen is Magnolia Park's A Long Way Home because if I remember correctly, this is set in London, and who doesn't want to visit London? I'm honestly super excited to read this book. I've read the first Magnolia Park's book last year and it was amazing, and the way it ended was crazy, and I don't know how I'm able to wait so long to read this book because I need to know what's gonna happen between BJ and Magnolia. They have like my whole heart, my whole attention, and I'm so excited to read this book. It's also so pretty. I'm obsessed with these covers because everything you see on here is like an Easter egg, and I think that's just so creative and so artsy. The next prompt we have on the list is to find a book with a pastel cover, and that was so easy. I chose The Idiot by Elif Batuman. I've been wanting to read this book for so long because the author is Turkish and I'm Turkish, and I don't know, I feel like it's gonna be such an interesting read. I feel like a lot of people say that this doesn't really have a plot, so I feel like it's the embodiment probably of no plot, just vibes, but I'm here for it. I'm very excited to read this. This is set in Boston. I mean, it's set in Harvard. I think it's just gonna be about our protagonist who goes to Harvard and is just trying to navigate life and falls in love with some guy. I don't know. The next book that goes on my TBR is My Roommate is a Vampire because I think it fits the romantic and whimsical vibe prompt, and this is also my current read, so I feel like I already know that it's gonna be romantic and whimsical. We have a vampire, MMC, and he is so cool. He's so funny. He's so lost. He's this like super old vampire who's trying to, navigate life in this modern world, and it's so funny, and I can't wait to finish this book. I'm like almost halfway through the book, but it's so funny and I love this. The next prompt is to find a book that reminds you of a childhood spring memory, and this was really tough because I feel like the books I have on my TBR don't really relate to my childhood. So it was tough, but I did find a book which I'm now realizing also has flowers on it. I should have looked more thoroughly through my TBR when I was looking for a book with flowers on it. If I remember correctly, this book is set in a small town, and small towns are like my thing. I myself live in a small town, and I feel like every family member lives in a small town, so when we visit them, we're also like going to a small town. So I feel like that is something that has been in my life, you could say. So I chose Things We Never Got Over, and I feel like this is a very pretty cover, and I think it's about this girl who runs away from her wedding and then goes to this small town, or maybe she is from the small town. Bearded bad boy barber Knox prefers to live his life the way he takes his coffee, alone. I don't know why that's so funny. Knox doesn't tolerate drama even when it comes in the form of a stranded runaway bride. Why is this Loki giving Rachel running away from her wedding and friends? I'm also nervous to read this because I feel like a lot of people also don't like this book in this series. I don't know what the series is called. I think it's the Now Come Out series. And yeah, I feel like this book is like everyone's least favorite in that series, but we'll see. It's also on the bigger side, which I don't like in romance books. Yeah, I feel like it's over 400 pages. So that's a lot. The next prompt is gonna be so hard because I need to find a book that I would bring on a picnic, and there's so many books that I would bring to a picnic, but I have nailed it down to 2 books. We have Delilah Green Doesn't Care. This is a sapphic rom-com, and I feel like it's gonna be super fun and sweet, and I feel like also spicy. Like, I've heard someone say that this is also spicy, but it's such a sweet purple color. And the other one is One for My Enemy, and this is a modern day fantasy retelling of Romeo and Juliet. Who doesn't want to read a story about 2 rival families? You know what, I'm just gonna put both books on my TBR because I can't decide. I think that seems like a sensible thing to do. The next prompt is to find a book that feels like sunshine. I think I'm gonna go with a Jane Austen book because they're sweet, they're romantic, they're funny. The question is which Jane Austen book, but I feel like I will go with, I think I'm gonna go with Persuasion. Also, who the hell is this man? Like, why is there a man on the cover of a Jane Austen book? Make it make sense. I think this book is about our protagonist who is a bit older, or at least I think she turned down a proposal, which, you know, your relation do during the Regency era, because you like depend on your future marriage and on your future husband, so you should get married as fast as possible. So she turns down Frederick Wentworth's proposal, and then is single, and I feel like she's a bit older, but then this Frederick ex-boyfriend guy comes back and they have like a second chance moment, I think. I don't know. So I guess I have to read it in order to find out. But my friend actually read this and she said that the love confession in this book is her favorite, and we shall see, because I don't know if anything will beat In Vain I Have Struggled, It Will Not Do. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you. So Darcy is my husband. I love him. And the last prompt is to find a book under 300 pages, and I'm gonna shade with this one because I really want to read Lady Chatterley's Lover, but this is 302 pages. But I feel like that's okay. I am really excited to read this book because I know that this is considered a very, very, very controversial novel for being very open about sex and sexuality, which was, you know, inappropriate when it was released, because it was released in the 20th century and it just, you know, was not common to be so open about sexuality. Let's go through all the books again. The first book is Beach Read, which was published in spring. This Woven Kingdom for a book with flowers on the cover. Magnolia Park's A Long Way Home for a place that I would love to visit in the spring, The Idiot for a pastel colored cover, My Roommate is a Vampire for a romantic and whimsical vibe, Things We Never Got Over for a childhood spring memory, One for My Enemy and Delilah Green Doesn't Care for a book that I would bring on a picnic, Persuasion for a book that feels like sunshine, and last but definitely not least, Lady Chatterley's Lover for a book that is under 300 pages. I feel like I'm pretty happy with my TBR. I think I picked some really good books that I'm actually in the mood for. I can't wait to read these books and do my little reading vlogs because I love talking about every book that I read. If you want to see me read these books, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for watching. If you have a spring TBR as well, then please let me know what you're reading or if you've read any of these books that I picked and what your thoughts were on them.